What a difference a day makes. One day it's short sleeve weather, the next it's snow boots and a winter coat. Parts of the state saw 70-degree temperatures, strong winds, and high fire danger yesterday. Today that was all gone. Many of us woke up to a fresh blanket of snow and plunging temperatures. Thanks for joining us this Sunday evening. I'm Mark Salinger. The strange March weather continues this week. Want to bring on 9 News meteorologist Corey Reppenhagen. And Corey, we're going from snow today to 80-degree temperatures by the end of this week. Truly feels like all four seasons in a matter of days.
Yeah, which is very typical for March, but this time we're taking that theme and taking it to an extreme, especially with the temperatures that lie ahead. We're looking at the most historic heat wave that we've ever experienced in the month of March. Talk about that coming up in the forecast, but right now we have to focus on these temperatures that keep on dropping. We're heading down likely into the low teens. You can see the highway back here, I-25, moving all right, but we're talking about a lot of reports of black ice out there. So be careful if you have to drive tomorrow morning. Here's the results from that snowstorm. We had 5 to 10 inches of snow reported in the Douglas County foothills and the Jefferson County foothills, about 3 to 6 inches on the outer rim of the Denver metro, 1 to 3 in the city, and about a trace to an inch up to the north. Here's that storm system that moved its way through. We've got severe weather out in front of that, including some tornado warnings and a blizzard ongoing on the northern side of that. We're in the clear here for the western side of the state, and we're finally starting to clear things out here across the Front Range, and we're going to see those temperatures drop. Just look at these temperatures. That's going to be a very cold morning. Watch out for some slick driving in the morning, and then we'll start to go on the upward swing on this roller coaster. 70s on Tuesday, 80s on Wednesday, and there's a bunch of 80s in the forecast, so I'll talk about that in just a few minutes.
Thank you. The biggest wildfire in Nebraska history continues to grow as smoke pours into parts of Colorado. Now crews from across the Rocky Mountain region are stepping in to help. The Morrill fire started late Thursday night in the western part of Nebraska. The fire is estimated to be more than 572,000 acres. Yes, you heard that right. That's nearly 900 square miles. For context, that's nearly 3 times larger than the Cameron Peak fire, which is Colorado's largest wildfire in history. Rocky Mountain Complex Incident Management Team is assuming management of the fire now. It consists of personnel from Colorado, Nebraska, Wyoming, and South Dakota. Fire crews have been battling 60-mile-an-hour winds as well as below-zero wind chills and some difficult terrain.
A lot of it is grassland, like we would see in, eastern Colorado, but so a lot of it is what we call light, flashy fuels. So people don't think of that as like a forest fire, but they're actually really intense fuels because they burn so quickly.
David Boyd with the incident management team, who you heard from there, says it's still too early to tell when containment might go up. Local authorities say 1 person has now died in that fire. Tonight, dozens of victims who were improperly cremated were memorialized in downtown Denver, long overdue, years after many families learned they received someone else's ashes or learned their loved ones' bodies were discarded and decomposing inside funeral homes in Colorado. Our Angeline McCall spoke with a mother whose son was found inside the Return to Nature funeral home in southern Colorado. Hey, Angeline.
Mark, Christina Page had already spread her son's ashes across the United States after cremating him through the Return to Nature funeral home in Penrose, even putting some in a necklace she carried with her. It was about 4 years later that she got a call and learned those ashes didn't belong to her son at all.
After almost 3 years, a downtown Denver memorial feels like the right step in honoring people who weren't honored in their death.
It's bittersweet. We shouldn't have to do this.
Christina Page lost her son, David Jackson. His remains were later found in the Return to Nature funeral home in Penrose.
I want people to understand what truly has happened to our victims.
He was one of hundreds of people whose remains were found decaying or improperly cremated.
There's already this grief factor that all of us had to go through during the death. But to have to kind of relive the death in such a traumatic way is horrific.
The night before one of the owners, Carrie Halford, appears in court Monday, the faces of victims will appear on the side of Denver's clock tower.
And we really wanted to give ourselves a little bit of a boost before walking into court tomorrow.
It's part of Christina's nonprofit, Colorado Remembers, formed in the wake after experiencing the unthinkable.
I think it's really important that we have that safe place where we can all come together and share the emotions.
They will never forget. In this way, other people won't either.
This is an amazing thing for us to be able to share our stories so publicly, but we shouldn't have to.
50 faces projected in downtown Denver,
Sorry, it's my baby.
including David's.
That's my son. That's Derek's mom there now. Everybody here has somebody up on that clock tower tonight.
It's a way for families to heal, families who have had to grieve twice.
The most sacred rites, the most powerful death rituals, whatever those are for your culture or your background, your family history, that was completely stripped for all of us.
A way to return some of the honor to their loved ones, even if it's well past time.
It is. It's extremely powerful.
The owners, John and Carrie Halford, have faced both federal and state charges for corpse abuse. The wife, Carrie, will appear in federal court tomorrow for sentencing, where she is expected to receive around 15 years for federal fraud charges connected to this case. In the studio, Anton McCall, 9 News.
Workers at one of the largest meatpacking plants in the United States are preparing to walk off the job tomorrow morning. The union, representing nearly 4,000 employees, says 99% of JBS workers in Greeley voted to authorize the strike. The union is accusing the company of unfair labor practices. At the center of the dispute are allegations that JBS has charged workers to replace personal protective equipment, low wage increases, and they argue the company is putting profits over worker safety. The union's bargaining committee has met with JBS more than a dozen times and weren't able to produce a new contract that everyone could agree on. JBS denies the allegations and says the wage increases are in line with national averages and are fair. JBS says if the strike shuts down their plant in Greeley, they'll just move production from Colorado to other facilities to avoid supply chain disruptions. JBS is one of the largest food producers in the entire world, and the plant in northern Colorado is one of their largest. Colorado Parks and Wildlife has opened the showers at a state park in southern Colorado to help residents in Walsenberg currently dealing with some serious water issues. On Friday, the city of Walsenberg issued a disaster declaration after experiencing a water main break. Residents have been under a boil water advisory since then. Huerfano County has been handing out drinking water and hand sanitizer throughout the weekend to try and help people. CPW says Lathrop State Park opened its showers to the community for free today. Those showers will be available again tomorrow from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Still no word on when the repairs will be completed there. Now to the latest in the war in the Middle East. President Trump wants U.S. allies to help reopen a critical oil trade route to help with the rising energy prices across the world. Trump listed the UK, France, Japan, South Korea, and China as potential allies to help, but so far none of them have committed to sending forces to the Strait of Hormuz. The strait handles about 20% of the world's oil supply every day. Today, the oil prices are rising once again. Crude oil rose nearly 3% to just more than $105 a barrel. Energy Secretary and oil executive from Denver, Chris Wright, warned that high energy prices could last for weeks.
But yes, it is a short-term disruption in the flow of energy. Americans are feeling it right now. Americans will feel it for a few more weeks.
It comes as the Pentagon has now identified the 6 airmen who were killed on Thursday when their refueling aircraft crashed in Iraq. That brings the total number of service members who were killed in the war with Iran to 13 now. The chair of the Federal Communications Commission is threatening to revoke broadcasters' licenses over their coverage of the war in Iran. In a social media post, Brendan Carr accused broadcasters of, quote, running hoaxes and news distortions. He warned broadcasters to correct course before their license renewals come up. Carr's post also included comments from the president. Trump has criticized the media, of course, for their reporting on the war. Colorado Democratic Senator Michael Bennet called it a direct attack on the free press and said it cannot be allowed to stand.